what are the biggest hurdles in getting this next stimulus bill through?
Cost is going to be a major problem. There is a lot of skepticism about spending a lot of money on another bill here on the Republican side of the aisle. That's going to be the #1 issue for many Republicans. That's why they're trying to cap this at about $1 trillion here. And listen to this from Rand Paul, Republican senator from Kentucky.
I find it extraordinary that I just came from a Republican caucus meeting that could be sort of the Bernie Bros progressive caucus. We've gone up $3 trillion in the last couple of months. Adding another $1 trillion is the most fiscally irresponsible thing I've ever heard of.
So Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is aiming for a bill which costs about $1 trillion, but a payroll tax cut could explode the deficit anywhere from $600 billion to $1 trillion on top of the trillion or more which they spend on the bill. It all depends how long they would suspend a payroll tax cut. And there are only 10 Senate Republicans who are for the payroll tax cut. This is why Mitch McConnell says Democrats hold some of the cards.
I think that's a starting place for discussion with the Democrats. Clearly, they have the ability to prevent us from passing anything. I think it's pretty clear they're not irrelevant. We do have to talk to them.
And this is why we always say that there is an old saying here on Capitol Hill. It's about the math, it's about the math, it's about the math. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell can only lose 4 Republicans on his side of the aisle before he needs help from Democrats, Connell.
Yeah, and, you know, it's always close, especially in something as contentious as this type of a bill, Chad. But I think normal people want to know, you know, at the end of the day, can they get it done? So can they get this bill through?
You know, Mark Meadows, the White House chief of staff, said something prescient going into the Speaker's office just a bit ago. He indicated that the unemployment insurance is due to expire at the end of July. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has indicated that she wants a bill done by the end of next week. So that's kind of this deadline that they're aiming for right here. You know, they have to work out a lot of stuff. Do they, you know, extend that? You know, how much do they extend it by? And also, do they decide on another round of direct payments? Now, I talked to a senior administration source yesterday who indicated to me that they have to get this done. They will get this done. A lot of the votes will come from the Democratic side of the aisle. Keep in mind that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has a very good relationship, a working relationship with Mnuchin. They worked out the Phase 3 bill that cost $3 trillion, and that passed the Senate 96-0. But don't look for any movement on this till the end of next week. As the source said to me, it always comes together at the 11th hour. There are, you know, there might be 11 other hours on the clock there, Connell, but only the 11th hour matters, and that comes at the end of next week.
That's the way they operate there. They always run it right up to the end. To me, I've been looking at this, these enhanced unemployment benefits, the extra $600 a week that you mentioned that have been in people's checks that are out of work, and how dug in, from what you can gather, are Republicans on that? We understand, because we've spoken to so many of them as well, that they don't want to disincentivize work. Many of them are opposed to an extension. But what about a compromise there? Is there a middle ground from what you can tell?
Absolutely. You know, and again, there's going to be some discussion. It depends on which side of July that the deal is actually cut. You know, Bill Cassidy, a Republican senator from Louisiana, he was saying after the last jobs report, he said, well, maybe we don't have to look at another round of direct payments if the jobs report is good. If this negotiation bleeds into August, which is very possible, and they get a bad jobs report, well, you could see where Republicans might run to the door and say, hey, we got to have, you know, that extra unemployment insurance in there. Keep in mind that these vulnerable Republican senators from swing states, Joni Ernst from Iowa, Susan Collins from Maine, Tom Tillis of North Carolina, they're going to be looking at this very closely to see how this impacts their reelection chances later this fall.
That's how it always plays, especially in a year like this. Great stuff as always. He's all over. Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill.